Now, raising teenagers is never easy, especially if you have one who likes to talk back.
We've all been there, haven't we? But it may not be as bad as it seems. It turns out kids who talk back to mum and dad may just be showing you how bright they are.
Oh,
See?
thank goodness.
There you go. According to a new study, kids who disagree and debate with parents are also more likely to say no to drugs and to alcohol. Sunrise parenting expert Dr. Michael Carr-Gregg is here to explain all. Morning, Michael. Now, you can tell Koshi disagrees with this one, but let's go through the facts. Where is the line between them answering back in a constructive way and just being a brat?
Well, I think it's very important. What this study did was they interviewed 157 13-year-olds about the major arguments they had with their parents, which unsurprisingly were chores, money, friends. And what they found was that they showed these videos to the parents and then the kids, and then they went back to the kids 3 years later and interviewed them. And what they found was that those parents who had allowed their children a limited amount of time to discuss and debate and look for compromise were actually taking those same techniques into their peer relationships and were much more likely to refuse drugs and peer pressure to do delinquent things.
OK. While the kids are all smirking here, looking at mum and dad around the kitchen table, thinking, see, let's underline a limited amount of time to talk back. Define limited for us.
OK, so what you do is you have a conversation with the kids and you say, look, I'm interested to hear your point of view, but the moment it tips over to disrespect, you then basically should close down the conversation. There's an old Texas saying, never wrestle with a pig in the mud because you both get dirty and the pig loves it. And I think this is a very, very important message. I'm old-fashioned, Koshi. I'm a little bit like you in that I think it's in the Bible, in Ephesians, it says parents should be in authority over their kids.
Yep.
So ultimately, you would give them a little bit of time to negotiate and compromise. If they don't want to do that, then you walk away.
Michael, parents are being encouraged to think of an argument as a critical training ground. Why is that? And what do you do in that scenario?
Because what this University of Virginia study found was that these kids would take those same techniques of negotiation and compromise into their peer relationships, and it enabled them to negotiate peer pressure. So ultimately allowing them that little bit of space, it's almost like a training ground, and taught them the social and emotional competencies that they need for later on in life.
Yeah, look, I reckon it's very sensible. I know we joke about it and things like that, but limited discussion, put a point of view. But as Michael said,
Shut it down.
Someone's got to have the final say, and it's you as a parent. Mate, thank you for that. That was fascinating.
Pleasure, mate.